Dear students, welcome to NR's YouTube channel. In the last class, we discussed the qualities and functions of a successful entrepreneur. To become a successful entrepreneur, he must adopt some qualities and he has to carry out some functions to become a success, to get a success in his entrepreneurship career. So that in that we discussed already that leadership and risk taking, innovativeness, goal oriented, and decision maker. So today we'll see some more functions or and qualities of an entrepreneur. So here the first one, sixth one we have, that is highly optimistic. So what is a highly optimistic? A successful entrepreneur is always optimistic and is not disturbed by the present problem faced by him. He is always optimistic that the situation will become favorable for business in future. So in the sense, to become a successful entrepreneur, or every successful entrepreneur has this character, that is always he is an optimistic and he is not disturbed by the present problem faced by him, right? So that he is everything, every day he will be thinking about how we should solve the problem and how we can come out from the problem and what will be the solution and what is the planning for that problem, so that everything will be he is thinking about that and he will make a proper planning for that, so that he will never that has a fear to face the risk or taking the risk, so that this is the one thing that he can come out from the problem, right? So mentally, I think overall mentally he will be the very fit and fine, right? So next we have motivator. An entrepreneur has to get the work done through the others. He has to create a spirit of teamwork and motivate them so that he gets their wholehearted cooperation. So that is also very important, that motivation. So he will be the motivator. He can give a good example for the his employee to take a work from them in a very efficiently, so that he can motivate his employees, or he can create some he has to give some reward for the good result or good work from the employees, so that each and every employee should feel that yes, so we are getting some reward for our work. And you can motivate them with the different examples, or motivate them with the good intensives, so that being an entrepreneur you should motivate, and you can take a wholehearted cooperation from your employees. So next we have self confident, and being an entrepreneur should have a self confidence to achieve some goals, otherwise he will not be able to convince his fellow being to achieving his goals, right? So being an entrepreneur, if you have some ideology, so you have to be should be a self confident. You must have a confidence in you. Suppose if you doesn't have a confidence in you, then how can you manage your employees? Then how can you give ideas to your employees, right? So being an entrepreneur, you must have confidence with your ideology, with your principle, right? So everything, right? So next we have action oriented. A real entrepreneur is always action oriented. In fact, enterprise always consists of action in uncertainty, right? So a real entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur is always action oriented, in the sense whenever you want to take some decision, he should not be delay with that particular thing, right? So whenever he get something, or whenever he get to start there some work, so he has to start immediately, and he has to take some time and planning it, and he can initiate it, and you have to start that work. So delaying that particular work will be problem for the enterprise, so that he must be action oriented. So entrepreneur is both planner and doer, dreamer and achiever. He implement what he visualize. So being an entrepreneur is not think that we should be sitting in an AC room, right? So being an entrepreneur, you must have to be, you have to be work, you have to be think, you have to dream your achievement, right? So he has to implement his visualizations, right? So action oriented. Next we have dynamic agent. So what is a dynamic agent? So he mobilizes resources, he destroy and old things to create a new. Hence, his real task is creative destruction. He create a new need of and new means to satisfy them. He has ability to visualize new venture and new planning. So dynamic agent in the sense he is always thinking about the new thing, right? So should not be adopt a old technology or old that planning or old model to implement in your company or a business activity. So whenever the time will be changes, when the customer need has to be changed, so you have to change yourself, right? So when you come up or when you go with the requirement of the customer, then definitely you will get some success in your enterprise, right? So one example I will give you, that is you can go for mobile phones. So in the mobile manufacturing industry, mobile companies, so at the earlier days, the Nokia is the biggest mobile company in the world. So whenever they are working hard, right, everything will be okay. And when the customer requirement has been changed and suddenly some more companies will come up with a new product, a new application, new features with the mobile phones, then suddenly the Nokia company has come down, right? So that's why whenever the customer requirement will be changed, we have to take some implement, we have to take some actions along with the customer, along with the end user. We have to go up with the in the business industries, so that every day it is a new research, especially in the manufacturing industry, right? So next we have high achiever. The most important characteristics of an entrepreneur is his achievement motivation. He has strong urge to achieve. He has a more aggressive level of entrepreneurial venturing and need achievements, right? So he has to be being an entrepreneur, he has some character characteristics, that is he has to motivate himself, he has to strong up to achieve, he has a more aggressive level of entrepreneurial venturing. So he has to every day he has to thinking about his enterprise, that how can we implement, how can we get the success in my business activity, so that everything every day he has to be think high and get a success. So next we have trust in self. An entrepreneur does not believe in luck of fate, luck or fate. He believes in his own firm decision and actions. He has trust in his perseverance and creations. He pulls his own strings. Right? So being an entrepreneur, right? So along with the luck, we need to work hard, right? So should does not think that we should be put it in a luck or a fate, right? Sometime every time it should not get the luck, right? So we have to work hard, we have to work hard. So that is the only success, that is the only thing, a way to get a success. So working hard and take a own decision and actions and implement in your business. So that is trust in self. And next we have, so functions of an entrepreneur. So next we have functions of an entrepreneur. The various functions of an entrepreneur may be classified and described as under, right? So what are the functions of an entrepreneur? The first one is innovation, and then risk taking, decision making, organizing and management, size and scale of business unit. And next we have uh, appointment of managerial and other workforce. Okay, so first we'll go for, that is innovation. Okay, so these are the functions of an entrepreneur. So right now we have discussed all our qualities of an entrepreneur. Okay, so right now total whatever do we discuss, that is the qualities of an entrepreneur. Now we'll go move on to the functions of an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur, what are the functions? So that is innovation, first one. It includes introducing a new product, opening new market, new sources of raw material, and new organization structure. So being an entrepreneur, you have to innovate your ideas. So what type of raw material I need to use, so what are the new product I need to research with the research team, and what type of organizational structure I need to develop, so that everything will be take care of the entrepreneur. Next we have risk taking, as we already discussed, choosing one among various alternative, and the end of the result file are unpredictable. So that risk we have to take, right? Whether at the end of the day we'll get a success or we'll get a failure, that is a secondary. The first thing is to we have to get into the work. So that is nothing but is a risk taking. We have to take the risk, otherwise we can't predict. Before going to take the risk, how can we predict that we will get a failure and success, right? Suppose we have a proper planning and everything, then definitely we'll get a good success. So next we have decision maker. So in the decision making, it includes stabilizing organization's aims and objective, and changing them according to changing conditions, or to make them more profitable. Division of work among subordinates, utilization of financial resources, right? And taking decision on effective technique, selling the product as per the demand of the customer, relationship with the social functionaries. So these are the organization and management. They all comes under organization and decision making. So being an entrepreneur, you have to take the decision that what type of product I need to launch, and what time I need to launch. It depends upon the product you have produced or manufactured, and what type of techniques I need to take to reach that product into the end user. And we have different kinds of that media we have to take your product into the end user. So that all you have to think about that. Okay, we have to use the different techniques to make sure that the customer will be attract towards your product. So that is up to the your work, that how can you do. Next we have organization management. In that, to organize and manage various economic and human factors under this category, following are his functions. One is planning the enterprise, coordination and control, supervision and direction. So being an entrepreneur, you have to manage your company. It may be the anything, right? You have to organize it and you have to manage it. So in that, first one is planning the enterprise. So you have to plan the enterprise, that whenever you complete one business year, so the next business year you need to make some take some planning for the next completion of the business year. So that you have to think about it, and coordination and control. So you have to make some coordination, and you have take some control on your employees. That should not be cross the line, right? So the conditions whatever you made for the employees, so that should be obey with all the employees, right? It should not be uh, next is supervision and direction. So supervision, you have to supervise with all the employees, that it may be the any field. It may be the manufacturing, or it may be the business, it may be the advertisement, it may be if you come to the financial. So that everything you have to look after. So that is organization management. And next we have size and scale of business unit. In that, to decide about size of the business unit, that is, he want to establish one production unit or more, which is dependent upon demand of product. Similarly, he has to decide about sale of production, that is small scale or middle scale or large scale. So it depend upon the uh, that requirement of the customer from the market. So definitely we will come to know what type of how much of product you need to manufacture, right? So it depends upon that raw material you have collected, right? And you have very limited amount of raw material, and if you have more demand, so then the requirement, customer requirement, then you have to make some special action to take the raw materials, right? So that is comes under size and scale of the business unit. So the remaining functions we have total 13 functions we have. So now we completed 5, so remaining 8 functions, that we'll see in the next class. Thank you.